Hello, hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It is Health and Wellness Monday. Our topic for today is keys to breast cancer self-awareness. And I'm excited about the show today. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and it's all about being breast self-aware and not about the pink. So I want to drive that in on the show today. We are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from Roman with the drive at 5. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. The show is being sponsored by Emanuel Church of God in Christ, located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, with Pastor Michael Richardson. And we are still practicing social distancing, so you can catch the Word of God every Sunday morning at 10:15 a.m. on the Facebook page, Emanuel COGIC. Our quote of the day is, "It is health that is the real wealth and not pieces of gold or silver." So if you are tuned in on social media, please like and share the show. Invite someone else in on the show today so that they can get this valuable information. I guarantee that it's going to be life-saving. I'm excited because this is Warriors Talk 5th year since we launched the radio show. So I'm excited about that we have continuously provides you with information on how to move from awareness towards action before, during, and after a cancer diagnosis. So I'm so excited about that. And there are so many good things that are coming, that we have coming. 2020 just kind of put like, a pincushion in the plans, but 2021 we have our annual Survivors Night of Reflection coming back up. We have another book anthology coming out, so I am excited about that. So happy anniversary to Warriors Talk. I have a special guest today, and I haven't seen her in a minute because of everything that is going on. But I have Diana Burke. She is a registered nurse. She loves spending time educating individuals on their health, and she believes that health is not a hobby, but a lifestyle. Hello, Diana.
Hey, Lady ReShell, how are you?
I'm good. I am so excited. It's good to see you again.
I know. It's good to see you.
Yes. Normally we would be like all over the scene right now because it's October. We would be running to different events and just trying to represent and make sure we are pushing that information about being breast self-aware. But right now we are representing our pink, and we know that it's more than just pink, but we are representing our color pink on today. But we are going to give you some information on keys to being breast self-aware. And the reason why I like for Diana to do this show, I think it's your third year doing this show. Is it third?
Yeah,
Going four? Third or
roughly.
fourth? And every time she does this show, we always get people just love it because she's really animated. So I'm hoping that she's going to be animated today.
Hey, I'm at home, so anything goes right now.
So we're talking about breast self-awareness, and a lot of people say, well, what's the difference? Because, we do breast self-exams. So, what is with this new terminology being breast self-aware?
It is being aware of your body. Yes, you do self-breast exam, but it also includes knowing your own body. You can tell if there's something wrong. You can, your body lets you know, hey, there is something that is not right here. So you need to pay attention. So that's where being aware of your body comes from. It's just knowing your body enough to, if there is something wrong, then you'll know.
So, because I don't want to really like confuse people into thinking like, don't worry about, doing the breast self exams. Just worry about this. But that's not what she's saying though. This is saying just be in tune every day, not once a month, but every single day. About what's going on in your body. And if that's the case, when something is changing, you're going to know right away.
Exactly. And that's the whole key. Our body is so wonderfully and fearfully made, as God said. And it's made in such a way that it lets us know. Pain lets us know, hey, There's something that is wrong here. I should not be having pain. So, along with our self breast exam, we need to be aware of our bodies because it does talk to us. I think everybody now is on a new health journey, and I think quarantine has helped. And it's like when you start eating right and you have those slip up days where you go back to eating junk, your body lets you know you are tired, you are just sluggish, you don't have the energy that you're supposed to have. So it all goes hand in hand.
It does let you know like right away, like, and I know some people say, well, they get tired of just like being on point every day. You want to have a day to where you just cheat, but you don't want to go overboard with it because you can easily slip back into, those old habits that lead to, bad health that you're going to be paying for later down the line. So, you can start today to make a change. We're not saying
Exactly.
that you have
And
to be perfect at it.
no, every day you get a chance to start over and do the beginning. If you fall off the wagon, get back on and just continues to strive for your best. And think about it, like Lady Rochelle said, you're saving yourself 2 years down the line. The amount of money we spend on medications and all that, if you try to get it together now, will be able to save yourself later.
It's cheaper right now to do it than to be taking medicine for the rest of your life or having to have some type of surgery, with
Right.
a big ticket item surgery. It's easier to just make, little changes, every day, every week, mark something off your calendar that you can change about your diet, about you exercising, and just your overall health. And you would be surprised where you will be, 6 months from now,
Right.
just making those little subtle changes.
And that is so true. And, we can't forget, especially in this time, about your mental health as well, because this all starts in the mind. So we make those small changes and we're on the road.
So when I look at Diana, when I look at when you think about the 1 in 8, I was looking back into when President Nixon declared the war on cancer back in 71. So here we are 49 years later, and back then in 70 it was 1 in 10, and right now it's 1 in 8. So it's still kind of close. Like the numbers really have not shifted that much. When you think about it, we're still at that 12%, which it was 10% then, but it seems like we are nowhere near closer to where we think that we should be, I would say.
Um, that 1 in 8 is a true fact, but I want us to look at, I think we have moved the needle into, and when we push early detection, I think we've moved the needle in that way, in that more women are being more conscious, of going to get that mammogram early, in early detection. And also when you look at the cancer rate, the disparities between, Black women, African American, Hispanic women, I think we have, I think that has dropped a little, but we are still far off the mark on where, we should be, but we're progressing in the right direction. If that makes sense.
That
You
does,
know,
yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah, I think the key is, as we always stress, is early detection. Knowing your body, doing your self-breast exam, and the early detection.
I always say when, if you get in early, you have more options versus them just telling you, okay, this is what you need to do. If you're in there early, then you have different options on what you can do versus, being dead out of options and saying, okay, the only thing that you can do is X, Y, Z, so don't do yourself a disservice by not getting in there early. And the way to get in there early is to be breast self-aware.
Right.
So I wanted to talk about individual, like women, knowing when to. I know we said with breast self-aware you do it all the time, this is something you do all the time, but for those women who say, well, you know what, I'm just going to stick to the regular monthly breast exams, I'm comfortable with that, I don't want to be worried every day about something going on, what would you say the best time for them to do their exams if they just want to do it that once a month?
Once a month, which is, recommended and ideal, because you also don't want to go, touching yourself every day at, that added stress. So you choose 7 days before or 7 days after your period. And for women that are still having their menses, you do 7 days before or 7 days after. The reason why you do that is because during your period, your breasts get lumpy, it's painful. So you don't want to go touching in because you're going to feel things. So you do 7 days before, 7 days after. For our menopausal women, pick any date of the month, like the first, and you stick with that and you do that the first every month. So that's the rule of thumb.
So the rule of thumb is 7 days before your period or 7 days after your period. For those who are in menopause, I'm not there yet. I'm 50, so I'm probably close. Pick a day that you do it, and do it with a girlfriend. You and a girlfriend set a date to where y'all maybe go get coffee and say, hey, this is what we're gonna do. This is our day to do this. So that you will want to do it, and so that you won't forget about it. Sometimes some people need partners to do certain things, or they won't do it. They just won't do it. So if you need a partner, you need somebody to hold you accountable, then pick someone that's going to you're going to hold each other accountable and getting it done every single month, so that you both can walk away feeling just empowered, knowing that I am on top of my health and I'm helping someone else to do the same thing. So have a buddy, have a breast buddy, to where y'all do it you don't do each other, do your own, but just encourage you to do it.
I'm glad.
I had to stress that. I thought about it. I pictured it and I was like, wait a minute. No, do your own breast exam, but just, contact the other person and say, hey, today is the day that we're going to do our breast exams. And after that, we're going to go have coffee. But do your own, so that you would know how your breasts feel. And when it's not normal, you would know, okay, something's not right. And you would know when to, if it's happening, 2 to 3 weeks, then if it's that long, you should be contacting your doctor and say, hey, write it down on a piece of paper. Where was that? Where the location was at, so that you will know, you will remember it, so you can, tell it to the doctor. But don't touch nobody else's.
Right. And for our married couple, do it with your husband or your significant other. This is a unique time for the men to get involved, because we got to remember they get breast cancer as well. So it's a perfect time for couples to. This will be a good couples thing to do. Teach him how to check it, and you guys do it on each other and do your own. So you know what it feels like. He knows what it feels like. There's stats out. That husbands find lumps in, they're the ones who find the lumps in their wife's breast, and say, because they, have been touching it, so they know what it feels like. So it's a good thing to get, couples in together to participate in it.
I agree with you. I mean, and that's another person holding you accountable too. If they're touching it, then they're gonna know. They're gonna know too what's normal. Like, wait a minute, that wasn't there last month.
That wasn't there, right?
Yes. So I totally agree with you on that. And she mentioned the men too. We can't forget about the men. 2,620 get breast cancer every year. Out of that, 500 plus would die from it. So you should also be looking at your breast, being breast self-aware, because you do have that tissue there. So you should know what's normal for you as well. And not just look at yourself like, oh, that's a woman. Because I know we have the pink, and it looks like, the pink is kind of representation of a woman. So men may be like, oh, that's for a woman. No, this is about
No,
your health, your breast health too.
and it is, so it's just important for everybody to be, to be look and check. You know, before we didn't know that men were so susceptible to it, but now that we know, they have to check too. So it's just really important to do that.
I remember Beyonce's dad, I think it was last year.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right, right,
He
right.
had he had breast cancer, and he is now on this I don't want to say tour, but he's letting everybody know, letting men know that, hey, you should be, checking your breast area too. You're not, cancer doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care if you're a man, it doesn't care if you're a woman. It just multiplies and divide wherever it see fit. So
Right.
yeah, so men too. Richard Roundtree, he ended up having it, and he's still, alive today. What's the other guy's name? Montel Williams, the talk
Monte
show.
Williams.
Mm-hmm. So you have men that have had this, and they have, had their surgeries, had their chemo, and they're still alive and kicking today. So if you're a man, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to speak up and go get checked out.
Right, because as long as you have breast tissue, you're fair game for this, for cancer. You are fair game. Your risk is higher for a woman, but as long as you have breast tissue, it is fair game. So you need to be checking it, and you need to know, be aware of your breast. Be aware.
I read somewhere that if you breastfeed, that it kind of like decreases your chances of getting cancer. And so that's one thing that women can do. If you're looking for like little things that you can do yourself, something that's easy that you can do, that may come naturally for some people, then you could breastfeed, and it'll decrease your chances of
Right.
getting breast
So
cancer.
you want to do anything to decrease, your risk factors, anything that decrease the chance of getting breast cancer. And breastfeeding is one of those things that minimize your chance a little bit. So hey, you know, that's another important thing for women. We have moved so far away from certain natural things that, and now we're seeing, the purpose. Of course, we know breastfeeding is healthy for the baby, but it also has benefits for a mother, the woman that's doing it. So, anything you can do to mitigate your risk, go for it. Um, Decrease. I know we're in this time and everybody wants to do a wine glass. We have to watch that, because alcohol intake is one of the risk factors that increases the risk. So, try to limit that, eating healthy, exercising, all those are things that we can do to, limit our risk. It doesn't mean that it's going to totally eliminate it, but it decreases our risk significantly.
So
So
there are things that we have
we can,
control over.
right, right. So we just need to do those things that we can, exercise, proper nutrition, decrease the alcohol intake, smoking, you know, all those things that we have control of, we can do.
And if you are just tuning in, this is Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, and we are live on Intellectual Radio. I'm talking to Diana Burke. She is a registered nurse, and she is telling us about the keys to breast self-awareness. This is something that every woman and man should know. She's giving us things that we have control over, things that we have within our power that we can do to reduce our risk of breast cancer. So you have to know also what your risk factors is. Some people don't even know, like, if they have cancer in their family, because sometimes we don't talk. They don't even know to even go out and see if I have a risk factor, to test to see if I have this hereditary link in my family. So that's something that you can do as well.
Right. Genetic testing, and just knowing about your family history. I know culturally that's something we don't talk about. We can remember grandma being sick, but we don't remember, we can't say what she had. It's a great discussion for families to have, to find out, what is what is in our family history as far as health goes. You know, Diabetes, hypertension, cancer, all those things are hereditary. So we need to be able to know what our risk factors are, what's hereditary, genetically. And you can get testing for it. It does get a little tricky with insurance and all that, but the testing is out there to find out.
I remember taking that test, and they really didn't go into detail like what was going to happen. So I was scared because I'm thinking like, what are they about to do to me, And but when I went in there, it was, for me, it was just a blood test. So, I had to wait a while for it to come back, but that's all it was,
Yeah.
just for me to, get some, like, a peace of mind for me and my family, to let them know what was really going on and if they had to worry about something in the future. So yeah, it was just a blood test, you guys.
That's exactly what it is. It's just a blood test. They just draw your blood and run tests on it, and that's it. It's nothing, invasive or that you have to be afraid of. So,
I think sometimes we have these horror stories about going to get these different tests because someone had a bad experience, and then now everybody is like traumatized, and they don't want to go in to get these tests done when the tests are in place to, help save your life and help catch, these things early. But, we have some people that, are frightened because somebody else had a bad experience.
right, because I remember before I went to get my first mammogram, I was terrified because you hear the horror stories, because it's too late and they push your breasts and and I'm like, no. And I went, and of course, maybe because I am of a bigger, you know, that helps, but I went, and of course, it is uncomfortable. It was not painful, you know. So we need to, as we talk about being aware, we need to also, bust those myths. It is not painful. It's uncomfortable, you know. So as we tell women, go get your mammogram. That's one of the things that I find out women are afraid of, because, oh my God, they say it hurts and it's gonna. No, it's not going to hurt. It is uncomfortable. And you want to look at it like this. Do you want, even if it's painful, 3 minutes of pain versus, chemo, radiation, all that? So we just need to look at everything and put everything in perspective. It's not painful, it's comfortable, and it only lasts a couple minutes. That's it. Just a couple minutes, and it's not every time you go for a mammogram and they call you back. That's another thing that people get, they get scared, and it's like, oh my God, I got to go back. It could be 20 other reasons why you're called back, so we just need to go through the process and just encourage the person. It doesn't mean that you have cancer. That's not why, it could be several different things, so just go through the process.
Oh, talk about the importance, Diana, of following up, because a lot of times we don't follow up when we take the test and they say, "Hey, I need you to come back in here." We're like,
Right. You get frozen. I don't know if you can see my little poster behind me, but I'll just read from it. There are a lot of benign lumps. Okay, they're fibroadenomas. They're just behind. They're cystic lumps. That is not cancer. And that could be something they say on your mammogram, but you won't know until you go back for that diagnostic, for that ultrasound. So once they call you when you've done your screening mammogram and they call you back and they're like, you need to come in for a diagnostic, that just means that they need a clearer picture. I always tell my patients, your breast is like, think about sour milk. Okay, you have the clear part at the bottom and the cloudy part at the top. And that's what your breast tissue looks like, that cloudy part. So the diagnostic mammogram is just going to make that clearer so they can see it. So if you go for your screening and they say, okay, you need to come back, it's just they need a clearer picture. And even if they say, okay, well, I see something, you need an ultrasound. It could be several different things. It doesn't have to be cancer, but you won't know unless you go for that follow-up. And keep in mind that early detection, even if it's there, if you go for that follow-up and you catch it early, then it's better for you. And like you said earlier, you have more options. But it's so important to keep going for that follow-up. You can't just stop and freeze because they say, oh my God, you have to come back. I remember a couple years ago watching Mary. And she was on the boat and she had a screening mammogram and they called her and said they have to come back. And she was like so scared out of her mind, but they just needed a clearer picture because they saw something. It could be anything. So that follow-up, instead of you staying at home and just being afraid and worried that, hey, oh my gosh, I have this, go and find out. In this case, ignorance is not bliss. You got to know what it is so you can have options and you can deal with it before it gets too late.
Exactly. Instead of just waiting, sitting like a ticking time bomb, not knowing anything and just thinking, oh, it's going to go away on its own.
Right.
If it is something, if it's not, but go and have a peace of mind. And then allow them to have that baseline. So when you go back for your next one, they'll say, oh, I remember we called her back last
Right.
year. And, so you got to get that baseline too.
Yeah, because once they have the baseline, they can see, oh, this was there, this was there. So this is something new, or this is always been there, So it is just important to go get that baseline and then go and get the follow-up if it's required.
If it's required, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Keys to breast self-awareness. So if you find that lump, don't panic because she said a lot of the lumps they're benign. They may not be cancerous. So don't be afraid to get in there and get clarity on whatever it is. And then at that point, we should be starting at I guess we don't do it until something is really happening in the family to start really talking about, what's going on in the family and what somebody had. And all of a sudden you find out, oh, yeah, cancer does run in my family. And then you start thinking back, like you said, that grandma was sick. No, who knows what grandma was sick from? So
Right.
you try to figure out, where do we start from here? And I can remember when my sister, my older sister, was diagnosed, and we was all surprised because we like, okay, diabetes run in our family, we know how blood pressure run in our family, but cancer does not run in our family. So we like, okay, where did this cancer, where did it come from? So we're looking at her like this is an isolated incident. This is on her because it does not run in our family. On my mom's side of the family, there's no cancer. On my dad's side of the family, there's no cancer. Guess what? She was our baseline. So now we base everything off of I had a sister that had cancer. So what do I do when I go to the doctor? You let them know. That's my baseline right there. So it started with her. And it might have been, like you said, somebody else that had it. but we just don't know about it, or they're not talking about it. But from what we know now, she was the first one that
Mhm.
had it. So you
Right.
have to.
And that helps your doctor know what to recommend for you. Because if you have a family history, hey, that means you might need to start earlier, getting a mammogram earlier than 40. So it's just important for us because it helps the doctor know it. Recommendations are based on that. If you have a family history, you may need to start earlier than 40. So it is just so important to know our family history.
I remember when I met with my doctor, she knew. I was telling her about my sister, and she asking her name, and they knew my sister, so they knew. Oh, we know exactly who you're talking about. They knew, what type of cancer she had and everything, so they already knew. So that's when she recommended me for the genetic testing.
Right.
Go get it done. Let's see what it says, because my sister didn't get a chance to do the genetic testing. So, I did get it, and I was negative. It came back that it was not a hereditary link. So I'm like, okay, so then where did it come from? And sometimes you kind of know. Um, I know where my cancer came from. Mine came from stress,
Mm.
So, and I can remember, um, after I had my last baby, being depressed during the whole pregnancy. It was a high risk pregnancy, and then being depressed after that. So the whole time I was just depressed for like 2 years. I was depressed, so my immune system was down. It was compromised. So at
Mhm.
that point, anything could happen, could come in. So I kind of know that stress played a role in it. You know, me letting my guards down, being in that depressed state.
Right. And that's why, go back to the beginning of the show. It's like your mental health is important, you know, um, because if your mental health, it takes a toll on your body. You talk about stress, that is a big risk factor for almost every disease you can think about. So it's just so important for us to, think about your mind, think about that health, especially just going through for some people, being at home, being quarantined is hard, and that takes a toll on your body and breaks down your immune system and allow for leave you open basically for everything else to come in. So it's kind of the barrier. It's the
That's
gateway.
how I felt. And that's how I felt, like I was just open. So if anything had a chance to do, to seep in, it would have been at that point. So I totally agree with you when it comes to mental health. And I think, um, dealing with cancer, I think a lot of people don't look at that as part of treatment either. Your mental health. Yeah, you're doing the physical, but you should be doing something with the mental portion of your health as well.
Definitely. That is so important. Whatever whatever you do, to get that yoga, prayer, journaling, whatever it is that you do to you need to take care of your mental health. You know, um, for me, one of the things I had to do was stop that 24-hour news cycle. You know, I couldn't because I realized it was just really affecting me. So I had to cut it off. Like, okay, I can't listen to this all day, every day. So you got to find out what works for you and what you can do to take care of your mental health. Because the Bible says the battleground is the mind, and it's so true. So we do have to take care of our mental health.
Stay on top of your mental health. So I don't want time to slip away. If you guys are just tuning in, this is Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. We are live on Intellectual Radio talking about keys to breast self-awareness. And I have Diana Burke here, and I don't want time to slip away before you get a chance to do a demonstration on how to be breast self-aware, how to have awareness when it comes to your breasts.
Okay, I got my motto. I got my motto.
Um,
One of
one
the
of the
things
things
that
that
we
we
do
do
when you're
when
going
you're
to
going to
do
do
your
your
breast
breast
exam,
exam,
okay, you
okay,
can
you can
either
either
do
do
it
it
in the
in the
shower.
shower.
Okay,
Okay,
most
most
people
people
prefer it
prefer it
that way.
that
You
way. You
have the
have the
water,
water,
it
it
does the
does the
flip,
flip,
or
or
you
you
do it
do it
once you're
once you're
out the
out the
shower
shower
and
and
laying
laying
down.
down.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
if
if
you
you
are
are
doing
doing
your
your
left
left
breast,
breast,
you're going
you're
to
going to
use
use
your
your
right
right
hand,
hand,
and you
and you
want to
want to
have
have
these
these
three
three
fingers,
fingers,
your
your
palm
palm
of the
of the
fingers.
fingers.
You put your hand behind your head. I guess I could just use my own breast if you can see it. Okay. And you want to start first, you want to do right above your collarbone, and you start from the inside and work your way out. Okay. So you're going to do this, move your finger, and you're going to do 3 pressures. Okay. Light, medium, deep. Okay. Then you swing your hand across, light, medium, deep. And you go down below your collarbone because you have lymph node that runs all the way here to under your armpit. So that's why you have to start checking above and below your collarbone. And once you have done that, okay, you find right here that dip in your neck, and you start and you go down light, medium, deep pressure. Move this finger. Don't lift it off your breast. I just did that so you can actually see my finger. And you do light, circular, medium pressure, deep pressure. And you want to use all 3 pressures because the light pressure will allow you to feel if there's any lumps on top. Because if you go directly in with a deep or medium, you're going to cause that lump or whatever is there to shift. Okay. So you want to do light, medium, deep. Take your fingers down, and you do that. You don't actually lift your finger up, you just trail it. You do that so you won't miss any spots. Okay. And you do it, go down, and then you move across, and you go back up, and you do the same thing coming back down all the way. And when you get to your nipple, you do the exact same thing. Okay. You do the pressures, light, medium, deep, and you go up. Okay. So you can do it this way, or some people do it this way. Okay. Once you have covered your entire breast, okay, once you've done your entire breast, now you need to do your armpit. So you're going to find the groove of your armpit so you can hold your hand up, put it down, and you see there, and you're going to do the same thing. Okay. You're going to do the same thing, apply the same pressures, and you go that way until you complete, because your breast tissue is all the way here. Okay. So you do want to check under your armpits because many people find lumps under their armpit. So once you're finished with that, okay, once you're finished with your armpit and you do both breasts, and you're going to do both your arms as under your arms. So you find the groove once again. All right. And then you start light, medium, deep, and you go down. Okay. Until you have finished that. So you've completely done your breast exam. What you're looking for, the difference, many people get it confused of like, oh, well, my breast is, lumpy. Yes, you have lumpy breasts. And that's one of the reasons why you need to constantly, on a monthly basis, do your breast exam so you know your breast. Many cancerous lumps is hard. It feels so. Think about a frozen pea and an unfrozen. One you squish it and it's squished. The other one is hard. You can't squish it. So usually that's what you're looking for. If it's soft and mushy, it's more likely just your um, breast tissue. But you need to check so you'll know. So that way, even if that lump is still there and you're like, oh, I'm not sure what this is, monitor it, and if it does not go away, then that's the time you go see your doctor. Okay. After you have finished doing your breast exam, you completely do your breast and you've checked under your arm. Okay, then you want to make sure you're standing in a mirror and you're looking at your breasts. Okay, you're looking first to make sure they're the same size, they hang the same way, they're the same shape. You want to stand up and you want to make sure you do this. You flex and you look at the side to make sure there's nothing there. You're looking, okay? And then after you have done that and you notice, one of the signs of breast cancer is it's puckering. So which means it's dimpling just like in your cheeks, but it's in your breasts. And that's when you do what we call the superwoman move or the Superman, where you hold your hand up and you bend over like this and your breast will hang, and you look at the sides and you look and you will see, because that's the only way you're going to notice puckering in your breast. Okay, so it's not only just feeling, but you have to do a visual exam from the front to the side, and then your superwoman, make sure you're not seeing any puckering. Okay, once you have done that, you have correctly completed a breast exam.
Wow. I love when you do it because you're very detailed when you do it. So whoever watched this video, it's like it's no question. You don't leave anything out. I think a lot of people probably have been doing their breast exams the wrong way. Just, a quick ta 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 ta. Okay, I'm done because we really don't want to touch our breast, and that's
Right.
it.
No, it's once you get into the rhythm of doing it every month, it will get quicker, but it's not a quick process. And it's not like, when you go to the doctor, you know, you have to take your time and do it, especially the first couple of times. So, most women, they don't know your breast tissue go all the way here and you find lumps over here. So you have to make sure you're checking those things. Above here, your clavicle and under lymph nodes go all the way here and here. So that's why you have to make sure you check. And when you're looking visually at your breast, you're looking for, think about an orange peel. It's rough and it's prickly. If you have anything like that on your breast, you need to go see your doctor. If your nipple is inverted, you wake up in the morning and it's inverted and you've always been a outie, so to speak, go see the doctor. Okay. If you have drainage that is red, pussy looking, go see the doctor. If it's red and rashy, go see the doctor. If those things happen to you and they do not go away, in a couple of days, you need to go see your physician. If you feel a lump, like I said, that is hard and it's there, go see your physician. Okay? They are there for things like that. Don't feel that, hey, this is too petty. This is too, go see your physician.
Go see your physician. So, Diana has given you Diana has given you a detailed list of exactly what to look for, how to do your own breast exam, and how to be breast self aware. So we have no excuse on what to do. There's so many different, is this video, and then you can go to YouTube and type it in. There's so many different things that we can do to stay on top of our health so that we have no excuse. Stop turning a blind eye thinking that cancer cannot happen to you, but instead just be on top of your health so that that you're doing all the things that you should do. So if a cancer, because cancer happens, if a cancer diagnosis does happen, you can still be one step ahead on what to do. Oh, I've been eating healthy, so I know, I've been exercising, so you know what to do. I know my family history. You know these things, and you know that you have been actively doing these things and implementing a healthier lifestyle in your life. And one of the things, Diana, that I've been trying to do is to make sure that I'm telling my girls, because I know that um, I was diagnosed at 43, so that means that 10 years they need to be like 33 when they get 33. But I'm really telling them, when they start going to the doctor, to start talking to the doctor about it, when they start going to the doctor, hey, my mom has had a breast cancer diagnosis, what is our plan? What do I need to be doing? Just to, because most of the time we stick with the same doctors, for a long time. So just to get a step ahead of, what it is that you should be doing. It may be nothing. It may just be, you doing your regular, exams, and, the doctor's just paying attention unless you bring something to the doctor's attention. But we should be, for those of us who have had a cancer diagnosis, should be having these conversations with our children to
Right.
let them know what to do.
It's important because if, your child start having breast pain that is, is not acquainted with her period, and it's breast pain, that's something you need to be going to see the doctor for, and you start talking to your girls once they start pulling out, have that conversation, and then you can teach them how to check, because girls as young as 12 have been diagnosed with cancer, so it's never too early to start having those conversations and start teaching them about being breast self-aware. So we need to start having those conversations and know that it doesn't matter what age you are. If you start seeing abnormalities in your breast, go to the doctor. You cannot have a mammogram before age 40, but you can have an ultrasound before age 40. So you need to make sure that that there are options. Not because you're not 40 and you can have a mammogram, but you can have an ultrasound. And that is what is required. So be vigilant about it, and make sure you're looking at them to know when something is off. Young lady, if anything is out of norm before, because we tend to think, because they say, okay, mammogram at age 40, then hey, I'm cool until then. No, you're not. And that's why you do your self-exam every month, because you go for a mammogram once every year or maybe once every 2 years. If you have had two consecutive normal screening mammogram and diagnostic, then you're moved to every 2 years. If you follow that recommendation, who's taking care of you for those other months? And just to let ladies know, you can go for a mammogram every year if that's your choice. You can go for a mammogram every year. I do mine every year, and your insurance covers it. I just had to write a paper for school and research a bill, and I found out that Illinois has adopted this bill that, because most insurance will not pay for diagnostic mammograms. They will pay for screening, but now they have to pay for it if it's recommended by your doctor. So if you go for a screening mammogram and they say, okay, you need to come back for a diagnostic and an ultrasound, your insurance has to cover it.
Wow. So that is some information that you need to know. So Your age shouldn't have anything to do with you making sure that you are breast self-aware and getting the ultrasound or the mammogram if you need it. There are things and programs out here to help you get
Right.
that done. Diana, give us some words of wisdom to individuals to help them to continue or to start being breast self-aware.
Words of wisdom, and continue to say early detection saves lives. You know, be vigilant about your health, about your breast health. Do your self breast exam. Go for your screening mammograms. And do the things that you can do and that you have control of. Exercise, eat right, take care of your mental health. You know, um, slow down on the drinking and the smoking. I'm not saying don't have a glass of wine, okay? And everybody have your glass, but be mindful of how many glasses you have, you know. So the key is early detection saves lives. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing it, but it is the truth, especially when it comes to African American and Hispanic women. We get cancer less than our white counterparts, but we die more. And one of the reasons is because we don't have availability of diagnostic testing, of, we don't participate in research studies, so what they're testing on mostly on men and other people, and then they try to give it to us. Well, it doesn't work for us, but there's not enough of us participating in research studies to know what will work for us. So then it comes to be trial and error. Let's try this cocktail. If this doesn't work, let's try that cocktail. Because we are not participating in things that are out there. So just be vigilant, be mindful of your breast, go get that breast exam. And once you have that diagnosis, stay on top of everything. Stay on top of everything. Go back for those that callback. Do not let fear cripple us. Do not let fear cripple you. Just continue to go and do. So early detection is the key.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Diana. I always appreciate your wisdom on this subject. I missed you. So I
I
appreciate
know I love you too
I know. I appreciate you just taking
much.
time out of your day to come in and educate us. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, you guys are welcome, and hopefully everybody had a great time. And if you have questions, Lady Rochelle is there.
Put them in the comments and I'm going to tag Diana. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell here on Intellectual Radio. And my words of wisdom to you is to turn your awareness into action. Join me next week right here on Warriors Talk, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell.